Om Vihaya Kaman Yasarvan Omam Sharati Nispriha Nirmamo Nirahankarah Sa Shantim Adhigachati. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat. Bhagavan is saying in the second chapter, 71st couplet, Shantim adhigacchati. If you want to attain supreme peace, and this supreme peace is not just about your mind becoming peaceful. Supreme peace, when he uses this term, he is talking about the realization of the self. You becoming one with the infinite sky, you may imagine that. You becoming one with the infinite eternal intelligence. परमात्मा में अपने का विलय हो जाना. The individual merging in the universal. If you want to attain the supreme self, he is saying, 4 conditions need to be met. Vihaya kaman ya sarvan. Sarvan is the word used here. Kaman, desires. And we have seen that the desires take so many colors. Now you have sensual desires. Now you have expectations from others. Now you have spriha, more. You are insatiable, insatiated all the time. Ye dil mange more, I want more, I want more. You have trishna. So desires take so many hues. And Krishna is saying that first set your priorities right. What do you want in life? Where do you want to reach? If you want to be a billionaire, perfect, nothing wrong about it. But then don't talk about the realization of the self. If you want to become the prime minister of this country, then don't talk about the realization of the self, or you are not happy, you are not peaceful. You have not chosen to be happy. You have not chosen to be peaceful. What to say of the experience of the self? That can never come. If the thread is multi-pointed, it will not pass through the eye of the needle. नहीं होगा ऐसे. So vihaya kaman ya sarvan. Not even the slightest taint remaining in the mind. When they talk about pavitrata, purity, not even the slightest, tiniest spot. It's only then that the mind will be peaceful and you will attain the self. Now he says, this is not enough. Even this is not enough. Transcending the desires, that is, your X factors, and the conditionings with regard to those X factors. That normally leads to your expectations from people in your life and even from the life itself. Then he says, transcending spriha. Spriha is also a form of desire. Whatever you are having, you feel something is missing. You either want more of what you have, or you want something else besides what you already have. So he says, transcending spriha also is a prerequisite. Now, the third condition that he puts here needs to be analyzed, understood clearly. Nirmamo is the term used. Nirmamo, absence of mine-ness. Absence of the thought that anything is mine, merapan. As desires and expectations need to be detached from, we also need to understand that even mine-ness, the relationship that we create in our minds, are also dreams only. They are mere mental formations that you consider to be absolutely true. You believe that to be absolutely true. कितना सच लगता है मेरापन. Let me tell you a story. In those days, in the 80s, I used to go to Ramakrishna Mission in Delhi. Whatever I have learned, it's the grace of this place. These people, Ramakrishna and the entire organization. What great saints I met there, and what inspirations they were. For about almost 8-9 years, I must have gone there at least once a day, and many times twice a day also. For hours together, I used to spend time there. And there used to be discourses. Even now, they have discourses every weekend, and sometimes on other days also. I used to attend these discourses regularly. In one of the discourses, one old monk came from Belur Math, Calcutta, where they have their headquarters. He must have been around 90-95 years of age, and very jovial in nature he was. He gave the discourse on mine-ness, merapan. When the discourse was over, as is customary at some places, we were all standing in a queue, one by one, going to the guru, the monk, and we would talk to him, we would touch his feet, and he would ask about us, and he would also give us, while we parted, he would give us candies, one candy each. He had a bowl of candies lying next to him. Now, there was a gentleman standing right next to me who had brought his 5-year-old son, around 5 years, with him. Their turn came. He gave one candy to the father and a handful to the boy. Just focus on what is happening in the mind of the boy. And immediately after giving the candies, the monk, when the boy had already put the candies in his pocket, the monk said, "Hey, those are my candies. Return. I don't want to give them to you. Give me back my candies." And then now the child started crying. He held the leg of the father and he was crying, "No, no, no, these are my candies. I will not give him back the candies." Now think of the mind of the boy. What kind of thoughts he has in those 2 minutes. Before his turn came, he was already watching the monk distributing the candies, and those candies in the bowl are mine. This thought was not there. These are his candies and he can distribute. But right after the candies were given to him, the mindset had already changed. Now, what is there in my pocket? His mind now started believing that that is mine. And one characteristic of mine-ness is that you get possessive about what is yours, you believe to be yours. Once again, what you believe to be yours, and this belief is only a mental formation, but you believe this belief to be true, then automatically the trait of mine-ness is that you get possessive about it. You don't want to let it go now. The same candies were being distributed earlier, and he was quite indifferent. But when those candies came in his pocket, and he had already attached himself with those candies, and the monk is now asking him to return, then the pain takes place. When you have to part from what you consider to be yours, and you are possessive about it, you have created a relationship in your mind. Think that something is mine. How do you feel when you are attached with this notion? How do you feel? All your conditionings that we discussed earlier get activated vis-a-vis those people and objects with which you have the sense of mine-ness. Otherwise, who cares? Again, let me repeat. Your conditionings get activated only vis-a-vis those people or objects with which you have a feeling of mine-ness. जहां जहां मेरापन होगा वहीं वहीं तुम अफेक्ट होगे. A girl eloping with a boy is a neutral happening. Somebody is in love with somebody else and they can live together. They are free to do that. So it happens to my neighbor's daughter, their family. I am neutral about it. Okay, it's their life. People do that. Boys and girls fall in love with each other, and every day such cases are heard. But if your own daughter does the same thing, now you have a feeling of mine-ness associated with that person. And your conditioning says that eloping with a boy is a sin, is not right at least. You should choose your partner with the consent of your parents, not on your own. Who are you to do that? Now, this is the conditioning in the mind. This is a general conditioning living inside of you. You are not even aware that it is there until your own daughter chooses to run away. Then, because the sense of mine-ness is there, my daughter, your conditioning gets applied to it. The conditioning says that this happening is not right, but the reality is that this has already happened. There is a mismatch between the conditioning and the reality, and you suffer. You feel that they have done a great dishonor to you and your family. You get anger. Sometimes you become sad. You feel helpless. Now, your neighbor will not be affected because he does not have the sense of mine-ness with the girl. The happening is neutral. What has occurred is amoral, neither moral nor immoral. What does Shankaracharya say in Nirvana Shatakam? Na punyam na papam. If you want to realize the self, you have to transcend the notions of punyam, papam also. All notions need to be transcended. It's just that, as Ramakrishna would say, if you are a sincere practitioner, sincere seeker, you will not wobble on the path. तुम्हारे पैर नहीं लड़खड़ाएंगे. You will live straight to your dharma. You will live according to the Shastras. But others are not living, you still bless them. You still understand them. So now, whatever has distracted you or disturbed you in your life, think again. There must be some mine-ness hidden somewhere. And this mine-ness, when it comes to you, you get packed. P-A-C-K, pack. You become possessive about it. You get affected from it. You want to control because it is yours. And you are curious about it. You want to know what is happening with those with whom you have mine-ness. जिसके साथ मेरा मेरापन होगा, वहां पॉजेसिवनेस होएगी ही अपने आप. जितना स्ट्रांग मेरापन है, उतनी स्ट्रांग पॉजेसिवनेस. एंड गेटिंग अफेक्टेड, PA, वो खुश तो तुम खुश, वो दुखी तो तुम दुखी, होता है ना। तुम्हारा बच्चा बीमार पड़ गया और तुम्हारे हाथ पैर फूल जाते हैं, योर चाइल्ड गेट्स सिक एंड you become so distracted, so disturbed by that. Somebody else's child getting sick, you will be perhaps there to help them. But deep in your heart, you will still be equanimous. From a state of compassion and kindness, you would be there to serve them, help them. But when it comes to your own child, where your mine-ness is strong, then you get deeply affected. C. Control. My daughter should follow the norms of the society. Just remember the three stories that I told you during the retreat. Susan and Martin. Martin is my boyfriend. Susan does not get affected if her sister's husband is unmindful. It's okay. It happens. But when her own boyfriend, where her mindness is attached, she is possessive about him, she is affected by what he does, and she wants to control him. And fourth is knowledge. You want to know what is happening in his life, in her life. Suppose your husband talks to another woman and he's trying to hide, but you have some inkling about it. Now, if your neighbor's husband is doing that, you are least affected. But when your own husband does that, where your mindness, जहां मेरापन अटका हुआ है, then you are curious. किससे बात कर रहा है? With whom he is talking? He is attached with her. He is not attached with me. And then you start suffering. You get affected. That is, you start suffering. Suppose you divorce the same man, and now he's in a relationship with another woman. Now your mindness has become quite loose. It's not strong as earlier. So it is his life. He is in a relationship. He should be. Think, husband and wife, before getting divorced, एक ऋतिक रोशन है, एक सुजान खान है, इकट्ठे रह रहे हैं, and suppose one of them is in a relationship and the other one is devastated, and now they are living separately afterwards, and now both of them are in relationships. Separate people are there and they are quite comfortable. They go to the restaurants together, they go to the movies together, they have their parties together. All four of them meet. The entire game is being played in your mind only. Similarly, Kathy and her husband Dave, because Kathy believes that he is my husband. What happens in a marriage? One day earlier, you don't have, in India, in the arranged marriages, you don't have the sense of mindness, and one day later, you have such a strong mindness. Earlier, this thought was not there. Now this thought is there. Earlier, when the candies were in the bowl, The thought of mine-ness was not there, and they were being distributed. You were hardly affected. Now you believe that these that are in my pocket are mine. So you are possessive about them. You get affected. You want to control. So Kathy, similarly, that Dave should meditate. Why? Because he is my husband. I am spiritual, he should also be spiritual. Being spiritual is better than being non-spiritual, is the condition. Being meditative is a better life than being non-meditative and worldly, is a conditioning. She starts applying the conditioning to Dave. And then she is affected. She wants to control him. She is not ready to give any space. And when he does not do what she wants him to do, she suffers. She gets angry, she gets sad, she feels helpless, she feels that she cannot live with him anymore. कहां से आई ये सारी बातें? Where from these thoughts are coming? He is my husband. Put this thought in quotes again. And imagine you are writing this thought on a whiteboard and you are putting it in quotes. He is my husband is a thought, is a mental formation. When you believe in this thought, what happens? Suppose this thought itself were not there, what would happen? You start giving space. You don't want to control. You understand that everybody has his own journey. Everybody has his own way of growing, his own way of enjoying. You rather appreciate and not control. वो मूवी देखना पसंद करता है, okay, go ahead. At the most you would say, no, I don't feel like. मेरे को नहीं जाना है, but you are free to do what you want to. Similarly, Janki and Urmila, there is a sense of mine-ness. My daughter. And now all her conditionings are activated. And she is applying those conditionings upon Urmila. My daughter. Daughters should be obedient. One's daughter should not marry narcissists. One's daughter should not be attached with tamasic people. One's children should not face unnecessary problems. All these conditionings, that problems are not good, that one should be financially stable. All these conditionings are activated when it comes to Urmila, when it comes to her daughter. Otherwise, her sister's daughter is also in a relationship with as tamasic a person. She can at the most console her, have empathy for her, but her mind is not damaged. Her mind is not, she is not feeling completely devastated. खत्म हो गया, मेरी तो जिंदगी, मेरी बेटी मेरी नहीं सुनती अब. My daughter does not listen to me. And we used to have such strong bond earlier. And now this bond is there no longer. Another conditioning, the bonds should remain strong throughout life. But they may not. But when it comes to your daughter, this conditioning is very active. Now, she is in love with a boy, that you don't like. So you are suffering. Ramakrishna was sitting in a room in Dakshineshwar. His room is still there. And I told you earlier also that there are certain places which are very spiritually charged. Once in a while, going there and meditating in those places is really helpful for your meditation. And Ramakrishna's room is one of those places. You don't have to make much effort when you sit in that room to meditate. Similarly, Ramana's room in Tiruvannamalai. Similarly, the entire Vrindavan. Similarly, the entire Rishikesh, the banks of the Ganges. Even this hall, the meditation hall, where so many people have meditated in this building, is equally powerful. So Ramakrishna was sitting in that room and watching the sweepers broom the premises of the temple, Dakshineshwar temple. He was watching. One gentleman came and told the sweeper that one boy had died in the street where he lived. He did not know who the boy was, but as soon as he came to know that somebody has died, a boy has died, he came to inform. The sweeper kept on brooming. Oh, I am just finishing my work, and in 5-10 minutes, I'll be there. And who was this boy? Whose boy was it? Just go and come back and tell me. The parents must be suffering, and there must be so many preparations that need to be done for the cremation. I'm just coming. And he kept on brooming. 2 minutes later, another person came and told him it was his own son who fell from the roof and died. And now the broom got dropped from his hand and he fell down on the ground. He could not even stand any longer. And he was crying. Then some people came and took him home. Ramakrishna was watching and wondering. When the sense of mine-ness is not there, one boy has died. Then you are quite peaceful about it. You know that it happens. The conditioning, what is the conditioning? That young people should not die. People should die at the ripe age, when they are old. So this conditioning is not activated until he comes to know that his son has actually died. Now the conditioning is activated. Think how beautifully this mind works, how marvelously. क्या अद्भुत चीज है ये मन. What a wonder it is. The same incident, if mine-ness is not there, you are not affected. If mine-ness is there, you are deeply affected. So either one or more of pack, possessiveness, getting affected, controlling, and trying to know, being curious about. One or more of them will become alive. And in this case, you get affected, you suffer. You cannot even stand on your own 2 feet. You suffer so much. Srishti, Sthiti, Sanghar, coming into being, staying for some time, and then decay and demolition. Death. Everything that has got manifested must go through these phases. Even the sun will not remain one day. It was not there earlier, it came into being, and then now the time is going on, the stay period, coming into being, and then sthiti. It is manifested now. But in about 4 or 5 billion years, or whatever time they tell you, the sun will not remain, the earth will not remain. Anything that has got manifested will not remain. Us human beings too. But it is injected from the society that death is bad. Death at young age is very bad. Death is a happening. Ask doctors. Go to All India Institute of Medical Sciences in Delhi. Every day there must be perhaps hundreds of patients dying. Now the doctors only do their work. And good doctors, they must be having compassion also. They care, but they don't get affected. They are professionals. They will just do their best to save their patients. But they do die. Every day people die. Now this sweeper is suffering because he believes in this conditioning, young people should not die, and his own son has died. Ramakrishna used to say one famous saying, God laughs 2 times. One, when the doctor tells the patient, tells the father or the mother of the patient, I will save him, don't worry. God says, I have already taken his life, and he is saying he will save him. He does not even know how to save himself. Alexander, I told you that story earlier. One of his last wishes was that he died at the age of 27, and there were perhaps 12 best doctors of the world of those times caring for him. And yet he died. And one of the last wishes was that these doctors will carry my coffin. These 12 doctors. People should know that Alexander could not be saved even by them. And another one was, even Alexander the Great went back empty-handed. Put my hands out of the coffin so that everybody should see. Even I have not taken anything with me. Nothing was mine. I only believed. Yeah, at his deathbed, he gave a wise counsel. Before that, he had killed perhaps millions of people. When you are carried away by the storm of your desires, that you want to conquer the world, was his desire. And he was ready to pay any price for that. But towards the end, just for a very short duration, some wisdom dawned in his mind, oh, even I am going back empty handed. Why did you do this? Whatever you did all your life. The wisdom ought to be lived during lifetime, not while you are going away. So the second time God laughs when two brothers having a rope in their hands is they are measuring the land. This is mine, that is yours. This is mine, that is yours. And they are fighting over it. That you have taken 1 meter extra and you have taken 2 meters extra. You are not putting the line straight. You are cheating. God laughs. Ramakrishna says, what fools they are. Everything is mine. And they are saying that it is theirs. And fighting over it. The thought of mine-ness, it affects you deeply. But in reality, it's just an illusion of the mind. केवल मन का भ्रम है और कुछ भी नहीं है. Suppose I have thought, I have a belief that this building is mine. And an earthquake comes and the building, it comes down, it gets razed to the ground like a pack of cards. A huge earthquake comes. I will naturally get affected as if everything has gone. Everything is finished in my life. And suppose this sense of mine-ness is not there. The same happening and the mind is peaceful. Thomas Edison, he was a great inventor, but he was a great businessman also. Whatever he used to invent, like electric bulb was one of the inventions, he would manufacture that product in his factory and sell it worldwide. One day it so happened that his factory caught fire. And it was a big fire. The fire brigades were called. They were trying to somehow douse the fire, but nothing was helpful. Now, Thomas Edison was standing on the other side of the road watching the fire, very poised. His son came to him. Father, everything is destroyed. What will we do? Edison says, shut up. Go call your mother. What? Go call your mother. Why? I want her to see this magnificent fire. She will never get an opportunity to see this wonder. वो आग लगी हुई है, उसको एंजॉय कर रहा है. He's enjoying the fire. What beauty. When the sense of mine-ness is not there, you are peaceful whatever the circumstances are. You are restless, you suffer, the stronger the mine-ness is there in your mind. Ashtavakra, the great saint, was hardly 10, 12 years of age. But the king Janaka knew that he was a realized master. He had experienced the self. So Janaka, the king himself, much older than Ashtavakra the boy, would come to Ashtavakra's hut, a small ashrama perhaps, for satsang. Daily he would come and he would pass his time with Ashtavakra. And it was a, an order from the king to his soldiers, his bodyguards, that when he was spending time with his teacher, nobody should disturb him. However important the task is, he did not want to get distracted when he was with his teacher, Ashtavakra. Imagine, a realized master, 10, 12 years old boy, and the king. He is also as wise, but very humble. Janaka is also a realized master actually. Although he is a king, but he has experienced the self, but very humble. He loves talking to his teacher every day. So one day, some servants come from the palace and they have a very urgent news to be given to the king. The bodyguards were hesitant. No, he will scold us if we go inside. No, this is so urgent. The queen herself has sent us. We must. So the bodyguard, one of them, he went inside and asked for permission. And then the servant came inside the ashrama, and the news was that his palace had caught fire and it was destroyed. And his presence was needed. The queen had asked for his presence. Janaka said, I'll come in the evening. The palace is destroyed, so what? I am listening to my teacher, to my guru. We are talking about the highest spiritual knowledge. Palace there, palace not there. Who cares? This is the epitome of wisdom. Both Janaka and Ashtavakra. The mine-ness is completely diluted, or rather not there at all, annihilated in the mind of the student. Nanak was sitting in his hut when a king visited him who had heard a lot about the Saint Nanak. There was a discourse, many people were there. The king was also listening. After the discourse, the king came to Nanak, folded his hands, and said, Sir, I wish to give something to you. Nanak smiled and said, I'm so grateful that you think about me, but I don't have any need now. If I want something, I'll tell you. The king insisted, anything, I can build you a palace. I can give you 100 servants. I can give you all the wealth. But Nanak refused. And even then the king was persistent. Ask, please, I want to give you. Okay. Nanak said, you have to give me one thing. What is it, sir? There was a small box lying next to Nanak. He opened the box and took out one small pin from that box. He gave that pin to the king. O king, a few years from now, you will be dead, I'll also be dead. And we will both meet in heaven. I want to I want you to keep this pin for me and return it to me when we meet in heaven. जब हम स्वर्ग में मिलेंगे तो ये पिन मेरे को वापस कर देना, इतना काम कर दो मेरा. The saints have their own ways of teaching. He wanted to convey the message, focus on your spiritual growth. Even this pin you will not be able to take with you. If you want to help me, focus on your practice. This was the message. Even this pin you cannot take with you. This is not yours. You only believe the kingdom is mine, that the palace is mine, that the soldiers are mine, my wife is mine, my children are mine. Transcend mine-ness was the message. Just like we studied the X factor earlier, we have to now understand the M factor. What are those objects of mine-ness because of which my mind is getting disturbed? Those are my M factors. When they talk about attachment and detachment, it is not only about the X factors they are talking about, it is also about the M factors that they are talking about. M factors, what are the possibilities? What are the objects of mine-ness? The strongest in the minds of people is my family, मेरा परिवार. A few years back, you were not there. A few years from now, you will not be there. Your family was not there. Your family will not remain. But in this small stay here on the planet, you start believing in the thought, my son, my daughter, my wife, my husband, my mother, my father, my sister, my brother, and even the extended family, even some friends, one or two maybe, my boyfriend, my girlfriend, my friend. This is where you get packed the maximum. You are very possessive. You get extremely affected. You might be immensely controlling. And you might be knowing, interfering in their business. What they are doing, you should know, so that you should be able to control them. Imagine a Mother Teresa. The whole world is mine. A Gandhi. He goes to England, and even with the Britishers, he is as comfortable. But he is my enemy. They are also mine. A Buddha, a Ramakrishna, a Ramana, where the sense of mine-ness has already evaporated completely. Then what is it that they believe? Brahma Satya, Jagat Mithya. One step further, Brahma Satya, Jagat Brahma. The entire universe is God Himself. And so is my son. So is rather this beautiful boy. So is this beautiful lady who has chosen to live with. In the form of parents also God has come. In the form of wife, in the form of husband, in the form of children, in the form of siblings. I have all the opportunity in the world to serve them. I am serving God Himself. Uddhav and Krishna had become very old, more than 100 years of age, both of them. And they were childhood friends. And all his life, Krishna had given him several teachings. One day, Uddhav says, Krishna, what is the essence of your teachings? You have taught me a lot many things. I understand all that. But the one final thing, what is it that you want to share with me that I should practice? The final teaching of Krishna to Uddhav, his greatest friend, childhood friend, was this whole universe is me. Serve everybody as you would serve me. We don't have to run away to from the family. हस्बैंड है ना, तो वही भगवान का रूप है. वाइफ है ना, वही भगवान का रूप है. बच्चे हैं ना, वही भगवान का रूप है. The people that are there at my home, they are the personifications of God. Instead of trying to control them, instead of suffering due to them, instead of being possessive about them, let me just serve them as I would serve in the temple, in a shrine. In the same manner, I serve them. Nobody should get hurt because of me. So consciously, I don't do anything that creates ripples in the mind, ripples of suffering. Consciously, I don't do anything. Unconsciously, of course, something can happen. And also, people, due to their expectations, can still suffer. That you are not responsible about. But consciously, deliberately, on purpose, I don't do anything to hurt anybody. What is that couplet? Yasman no dvijate lokah, lokan no dvijate chayah. हर्ष आमर्ष भय उद्वेग मुक्त यह सच में प्रिय. Yasman no dvijate, one who does not get perturbed, disturbed by the world. Lokan no dvijate chayah, one who does not perturb, disturb anybody, conscious. One who is free from excitement, jealousy, fears. sadness. He is dear to me, Krishna is saying. When your mine-ness will become loose, this will naturally happen to you. You will be comfortable in everybody's company. By choice, you will seek solitude. But many times, this choice is not fulfilled. You are living in a house of maybe 2 rooms, 3 rooms, and there are a few people living with you. So, every day the desire of solitude may not get fulfilled, but you are very comfortable living under the same roof with everybody. One who is able to do that, he is on the right track. Krishna is saying, you are dear to me. Secondly, first is family. The second one is money, the M factor. And you are ever insatiated. The saturation point never comes. You want n number of zeros in your bank balance. वो कहते हैं ना 99 का चक्कर. You are ever dissatisfied with what you have. This is called greed. Discontentment is greed. You get possessive about it. You get affected if losses take place or if gains take place. In the former, you will be miserable. In the latter, you will be excited. You want to somehow control your finances. Packed. You are already packed. You are possessive. You don't want to let it go. Losses make you suffer. You get affected. You want to control. And you want to have the knowledge of the entire plan, following which you will become a billionaire, millionaire, whatever it is your desire is. And whenever you are packed in this manner, you will be suffering. You will not be happy. What is the other way around? What is the other way out, rather? Following your dharma with I equals C, and then whatever comes on its own. Krishna says, do everything in the spirit of yajna, in the spirit of puja, in the spirit of worship, and I will take care of all your needs. Don't compare yourself to others. Oh, they have so much and I don't have anything. You are so blessed to have this subtlety that you are able to understand these concepts. They don't have that. And this is priceless that you have. The third is M factor, objects. Objects of the senses. This is my dress, this is my house. These are my shoes, these are my clothes. And on my clothes, some dirt falls somehow. And they get dirty. And I am in a party already. Some food has fallen. Some spots are there. Yellow spots of turmeric. My clothes. If these are somebody else's clothes, I will just tell him, forget about it. Who cares? Nobody is looking at you, what you are wearing. But when my own clothes get stained, oh, how restless I become. When my own car gets a scratch, I remember one nephew of mine, he was about 24, 25 at that time, and he bought his first car about 10 years back, about 5 lakh rupees, 5, 6 lakh rupees he spent and bought the car. And now, naturally you are very attached with your first car. So he brought it home and parked it somewhere next to his place. The very next day, he saw, as he was going to his office, that somebody had put a long scratch with a stone, perhaps. And he called me, said, Mama, ऐसा लगा जैसे मेरे दिल को किसी ने चीर दिया है. As I felt as if somebody had put a big, deep scratch on my heart itself. Such pain. Why? If it is somebody else's car, you would be least bothered about it. But this is your M factor now. This is my car. And then that scratch happens on your heart. Similarly with all other objects. But when this mine-ness is loose, how will you live? How will you behave? I remember reading one story of a billionaire somewhere in America whose house also was getting destroyed by a big fire, and he had antiques worth millions of rupees in that house, in that palace. Later on, he writes, I was watching my palace getting burned, and I had a sense of relief. Gaya to gaya na, it has gone. I am least bothered about it. It was only a burden, such big place. And all those antiques, all those precious things, it was only a burden. I felt relief. In the same situation, another person can feel very differently. The two differences are because of how strong your mine-ness is. In the former case, there's hardly any mine-ness. It's not that if one is a billionaire, one will not be wise. Or if one is poor, one has to be wise. There is no connection. Rich people can be very wise. Poor people may not be wise. There is no connection. How much wealth you have and how wise you are in life, how detached you are in life. Janaka, the king, goes to his teacher who hardly has anything and prostrates, bows in front of him. साष्टांग प्रणाम करता है जनक. So this is the third X factor. The fourth is my ideas. You're working in an office and you feel that somebody has stolen your ideas. And you are telling everybody about it. Mera idea tha. That was my idea. That was my idea. And you're suffering inside that he has taken all the credit. Imagine an Aurobindo writing the masterpieces like The Life Divine, The Synthesis of Yoga, Savitri, masterpieces, and truly feeling and saying that he has done nothing. These were not his ideas. He was just a channel. He was just an instrument. He only put his pen on paper. He did nothing else. How ideas came, he was not even aware. How pen kept on writing. It just happened. Rabindranath Tagore says, it just happened. And Einstein says, it just happened. A Tesla never patented anything. Nothing is mine. Take whatever you want. They all have large hearts and very subtle minds. The small minds remain engrossed in, I mere ideas le gaya. They have stolen, they have done this, so I'll have copyrights, I'll have patents. My ideas. That's another cause of trouble, M factor that creates troubles in the minds of people. The next one is my life. In this sense, that my life should unfold in this manner only. That these are the situations that I should have. These are the incidents that should occur in my life. My children getting married comfortably, my children financially well off, me, my life, I also financially well off, no insecurity, complete security and love and respect everywhere. My life should have these incidents. And I am very controlling about my life, and things don't happen the way I want, and I suffer. Yudhishthira is sitting watching the Himalayas, enjoying the beauty. Bhima comes and says, brother, we have lost our kingdom. We have lost everything, and you are least affected. Yudhishthira says, in this moment, my brother, just look at the Himalayas, how beautiful they are. And thank God that we are able to enjoy His creation. The past is not there. The future is uncontrollable. But this moment you can live fully. I don't know how much Bhima understood him. But think of the mind of Yudhishthira, who has lost a kingdom and yet he is so centered. Whatever life brings to me, I am aligned with it. Of course, he made one mistake, but that is not how you judge a person. That was one incident. Otherwise, he was a saint. धर्मराज बोलते थे उसको. He was the personification of dharma. And this incident is telling the same. He is very equanimous in the forest, in the palace. So these are the M factors that we need to do the work on. In the evening session, we will learn how to detach from the M factors. We close with the Shanti mantra. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kasche Dukha Bhagav. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat. May there be peace, peace and eternal peace in the hearts of all of us and in the hearts of all beings. Thank you so much. Thank you. Bless you all. Thank you. See you in the evening.